Welcome to the Hope for the Journey podcast, a weekday wellness tips program presented by Dr. Denise Marie, Third Order Carmelite. Dr. Denise is a professionally qualified clinical psychologist, health and wellness professor and coach, counselor, plus medicinal herbs educator. Each Hope for the Journey podcast features a well-being key from Dr. Denise, helping you meet your self-care needs for living well. Listener discretion is advised because this and other Hope for the Journey episodes may contain discussions surrounding behavioral health problems and other actual potentially triggering topics.
A good day to everyone. Hello. Welcome back to Hope for the Journey. I hope things are coming along okay for you today. This is Dr. Denise speaking, and on today's episode of the podcast, I will be talking about having a no screen hour, which is a psychological self-care key for living well. So what do we mean by a no screen hour? A no screen hour is about being free from your tech devices for at least 1 hour a day. Putting these devices away, putting away your electronics, smartphones, laptops, and tablets at home. Why should you consider putting into place the practice of a no screen hour? There are a good number of reasons for this. First, to gain back your daily moments, attending to your own present life experiences. For the benefit of your psychological health, as there have been many research studies which have shown the adverse impacts of too much social media on your emotional health. Another reason for having a no screen hour is to avoid the development of phone addiction. Overuse of phones have been observed to produce addictive behaviors in users. Another rationale for the no screen hour is a bit ironic, and this reason indicates that we simply avoid using our tech so we do not become less social. Research studies are revealing that excessive phone use is negatively affecting people's ability to be social in real life face-to-face encounters. So much for the term social media. Another reason for turning off technology for an hour a day is so that our activities of daily life, the activities in our real life, are not distracted from, are not interrupted. So that would be eating meals together, our relationships, our work, our recreation, and such. Another rationale for turning off tech is so that we do not get caught up in keeping up appearances in front of our social media followers. Also, we need to protect our attention spans. Studies have concluded that excessive phone use hurts our attention spans, can actually take over the space in our minds, so we have less ability to concentrate on what we need to. And then there is the issue of our eyesight. we certainly need to take care of our eyes. And of course, eye strain frequently occurs from spending too much time with screens, too much screen time. Now, do you think that you need to reduce your own screen time by at least 1 hour per day? Do you think you can be technology free for an hour before bed? Not only for your benefit, but also for the benefit of others in your life? Are you concerned about what screen time has been doing in terms of imbalancing your life? Would you like a more balanced life in relation to your tech devices? Being able instead to use the time gained from being off screen to reconnect with your life toward improvement of your well-being, physically, psychologically, spiritually, and relationally. So at this point in the podcast, I'm going to turn my attention to sharing tips for alternative, constructive ways to spend that no screen hour. So let's take a look at what you can do to improve your well-being physically when you have your technology turned off. First, there is the wellness value of going outdoors, spending some time in the open air. This is actually one of the laws of good health. Even if it simply means sitting on your balcony or spending time on your porch looking out, or weather permitting, taking a walk so that you are finding yourself with time spent in nature, what some have called ecotherapy, involving enjoying the sights, the sounds, smells of the wonderful outdoors. Another thing you can do to improve your well-being physically with your no screen hour is to look through cookbooks for a new recipe to try. Instead of searching online for recipes, have a physical cookbook in your hand, taking the time to relax, select dishes which you would like to make, enjoy rummaging through the pages by sitting on the sofa in a state of being unwound, enjoying the cookbook, leaving bookmarks or even sticky notes on what you would like to make, maybe even preparing a delicious dessert as a family treat. And then there is the wellness value of visiting a farmer's market. Not only walking around at the market, which is healthy in itself, but just looking at what fresh produce and other culinary things that you can purchase for enjoyment while you are not on screen. Then there is the wellness value of doing daily exercise. This actually is another law of good health. Stretching exercises, whether you choose to do exercises that are light or more moderate or even vigorous, to increase your flexibility and gain all that can be gained through daily exercise. I particularly like to suggest people check out Praise Moves, which is a very wonderful way of exercising. Then there is the wellness value of turning on your favorite song or songs and dancing. I recommend often for people who are interested in Latin dancing for health, an exercise form called Mira dance. That's M-I-R-A exclamation point. Mira dance. It is not only fun, but certainly physically helpful. Then there is the wellness value of going mini golfing. The enjoyment of being able to play a stress-free game of miniature golf. So besides the idea of trying to improve your well-being physically by these kinds of activities which I've just reviewed, you can also set out to use your no screen time to improve your well-being psychologically. So examples of what can be done for this would be to consider the wellness value of creative activities that can be done. Creative activities such as crafting, do-it-yourself crafts with items that you already have at hand and at your home. The idea of maybe doing paint by numbers, trying origami, and filling up your home with adorable paper projects. Creative activities can actually elevate your mood, psychologically speaking. Then you might want to consider the wellness value of reading a beautiful art magazine or two, or enjoying a large coffee table art book. Then there is the wellness value of watching something funny. Going out to a type of comedy barn, belly laughing with your loved ones, watching a comedy show is a very uplifting and relaxing experience. Then there is the wellness value of watching a quote-unquote feel-good movie. Taking a break and time out to feel better. Then, of course, there is the wellness value of simply taking a day trip, just going off, maybe even setting an agenda or not, to just simply be away from things in another place. Then there is our spiritual arena to consider for improving your well-being spiritually. Ideas for doing spiritual activities, for being in a more spiritual place within yourself would be great ways to spend no screen time. For example, there is the wellness value of just choosing to simply be present and still in the current moment. Stillness can be quite therapeutic. Then there is the wellness value of writing a gratitude list. Perhaps making a short list with at least 4 things on it that you can clearly say you are thankful for the good things that life has graced you with. Gratitude can be a tremendous impetus for happiness. And then if we're looking at this spiritual arena, there is simply the wellness value of starting up a conversation with God. That is praying. Also, there is the wellness value of making what are called contentment scripture cards. You can simply write out scriptures on little cards, scriptures that you found actually are pleasing for you, give you times of contentment to read and mull over. And that way you'll have a set of contentment cards which you can pull out and read them anytime you wish during your screen-free hours. Then another arena for improving your well-being when you are at your tech turn-off time would be improving your well-being relationally. So there is the wellness value of pondering a way you can make the world better for someone else. Relationally speaking, you can consider the wellness value of bonding more with your loved ones, perhaps by having an indoor picnic. Also, there is wellness value to do something particularly helpful to others, serving others. For example, a wise yet constructive activity you can do is to help a friend or a family member with work that they need to get done. It will actually make both of you happy. Also, for improving your well-being relationally, during your no screen hour, you can consider the wellness value of volunteering somewhere, not too far away from where you live, somewhere nearby. And you can, of course, examine your own talents and gifts and see how you might be able to apply them in a volunteer position, even if it is for a short amount of time on a given day, just to give that idea of volunteering. Put it into practice is a good thing. So overall, in pursuit of this no screen hour, it is important, of course, to remember that Rome wasn't conquered in a day. So you might need to begin this practice implementation with very small steps. So that would mean taking first less than an hour breaks from your devices, short breaks from your screen time, and then allow yourself to work up to at least 1 hour per day of tech turn-up time. I think in the end you will find out that you will be glad that you did spend the no screen hour. Next, I'd like to move our attention over to examples of people who have found significant value in having a no screen time. First, as reported by her goddaughter, Miley Cyrus, one well-known woman who has revealed a practice of distance from tech devices is Dolly Parton. Evidently, Dolly is, quote unquote, rarely on the phone, end quote, and actually primarily communicates through fax machine. Another example of someone who has found significant value in having time away from a screen is Simon Cowell, the English TV personality, record executive, and entrepreneur, who is the popular judge on a number of British TV talent competition shows. I read that Simon Cowell stopped use of his own smartphone in the year 2017 because reportedly he became overwhelmed by all of the unread messages and came to the realization that spending time on his smartphone was, quote, actually stopping him from working or living properly, end quote. So I believe you can see that both Dolly Parton's and Simon's practices of going without screen time is something they have concluded is needed for their living well. In my looking to select which piece of music to speak about on this podcast, a song that would support the wellness strengthening value of having at least one no screen hour each day, I particularly like a song I found entitled Most People Are Good by Luke Bryan. Now, this song is from Luke's album called Most People Are Good. And some of the lyrics of the song, which are available on the internet, go like this. I believe kids oughta stay kids as long as they can. Turn off the screen, go climb a tree, get dirt on their hands. I believe we gotta forgive and make amends to make new old friends. I believe in working hard for what you've got, even if it don't add up to a lot. I believe most people are good and most mamas ought to qualify for sainthood. I believe most Friday nights look better under neon or stadium lights. I believe this world ain't half as bad as it looks. These lyrics of Luke Bryan certainly express the life value of taking time off from tech. And if you haven't done it already, planning a daily no screen hour is well worth making a new habit of. To assist you at this point toward more care for you and especially your emotional wellness, I'm inserting the following into this podcast. Several health foods and plants associated with today's psychological self-care key of having a no screen hour each day. Though please recall my indication to review these different health foods and plants with your doctor before use, considering them within your personal health situation. So I mention these health foods and plants here in service of the benefit of turning off your electronic devices for an hour each day so that you are trading screen time to relax in an herbal tea time. With so many busy moments in our lives, when we just need to calm ourselves in both body and soul, we can have a traditional tea time. And these are the 3 health foods and plants that I would like to draw attention to. The first is peppermint, for making peppermint tea, which is not only of worth for the digestive system and the immune system, but also helps to lower stress, and in this way help us avoid occasions of worry. Peppermint contains menthol among other interesting constituent parts, and drinking peppermint tea helps to allow our minds an opportunity to relax. Then I would also like to mention rose petals or rosebuds tea to assist in lowering stress levels and calming the nervous system. Rose also helps foster sleep. And of course, beyond that, it also has a particularly lovely scent. And then there is lavender tea, with its naturally fragrant taste that makes it a very relaxing drink to help you unwind after a long day. Yet I still need to underline the good of talking over such herbs with your doctor to consider your unique health situation. Otherwise, I am pleased to feature peppermint, rose, and lavender here in the podcast because they are gifts from nature that could serve to complement your journey to putting into practice a no-screen hour. I also have something brief to share with you today, a post-it that I have written up. a post-it note to encourage you toward implementing a practice of 1 hour each day of no screen time. So I hope you will take to heart these words from a friend, actually adapted from the book of Hebrews, chapter 4, verses 9 through 10. Remain, therefore, at rest as a child of God. Because if you have entered into your rest, you will also have ceased from your own works, as God did from his. Next, there is one additional item that I plan to place before you today, rather than a phone app, given our subject matter of the day. I wanted to mention a couple of specific places for you to consider spending the time you gain from turning off your tech. Several places that foster physical, psychological, spiritual, and/or relational well-being, especially in reference to the health benefits of ecotherapy. Many persons do have the ability to enjoy their tech time off by taking advantage of being able to walk out to a nearby botanical garden, lovely lake, river, beach, park, or even a forest. What a blessing it is to have these natural habitats at your disposal for increased personal wellness. And besides these particular places that I just listed, you can bear in mind that there are other means of help available through our own Hope for the Journey podcast resource center located on Instagram at Cause for Hope. And lastly, for this evening, it is my pleasure to finish up this podcast by telling you how much I appreciate having had this time to address today's topic with you, to discuss the psychological self-care key of having a no-screen hour. And please know that I personally wish you more hope for the journey of greater well-being.
The Hope for the Journey program airs weekday evenings from 7:45 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Instagram and YouTube. Dr. Denise thanks you for listening to her Community Wellness podcast and wishes you to keep in mind that there is cause for hope of more well-being.